Hello, my loves. Welcome to Pain to Joy. My name is Danielle Sutty, and I am so thankful that you are here with me today. Before we begin, if you'd like to drop in with me, place one hand on your heart space, another on your low belly if that feels good for you, and take a deep, deep inhale into your low belly. And a long exhale. Exhaling all that no longer serves and perhaps never did. How is your heart today? Mine's doing okay, a little tender, as experiencing so much physical pain these last couple of months with migraines, which I'm going to call the M word from now on, and pain flares. I think being in so much physical pain, other emotions, other painful emotions like grief or loneliness, sadness, seem to come to the surface much more easily, which is a beautiful thing because right now my time is being spent alone, healing, so it would be normal that there would be some feelings of loneliness at times and also of grief for maybe the things that I want to be doing that I can't, grief when I think about how many times in the last few years I've had these periods of isolation, and sometimes I think to myself like I'm missing out on my life. And at the same time, I really am intentional and present to the quote that I mention often that I heard Jonathan Foust say many years ago, what could be good about this? And although I've been in this position many times before, I try my best to see it as an opportunity to work on creative projects when I have the energy and to do my best to embrace this quiet time. I mentioned in one of my first episodes that I did something called the Landmark Forum. And at a certain point, there's talk of choosing it to choose it. And I was confused at first, but the idea is many things happen in our lives that we didn't choose. Many things are going to happen that we don't want, but it's the idea of grieving it, feeling through it, and getting to the point where you can choose your circumstances as though you chose them for yourself. And you might be thinking, but why would I choose that for myself? Why would Danielle choose to be stuck in her house most of the time, doing her brain retraining, her knee exercises, and being isolated from other humans? Well, she wouldn't choose that, but because that's what's happening, she's choosing to choose it. And going back to that point about grief, because I've been alone a lot and grief has surfaced for different reasons, I've really been present to how so much of life is grieving the loss of people that we love, grieving different stages of life, whether that's our own lives or if you have children, the different stages that they go through, grieving who we once were, grieving things that we thought that we wanted, but that have not yet come to fruition. And I think too, maybe sometimes in the grieving, especially of that last one, so many dreams or things that we wanted for ourselves, and we think, well, shoot, maybe that's not going to happen, but I still really want it. But then I think there's this pain point in between. Would we be better served by grieving these dreams that haven't come true, or grieving this thing we thought that we wanted, truly grieving it, truly surrendering, truly letting it go? And then if it does happen, amazing. And just in this moment, it's making me think of years ago, and I know Oprah has shared this story and her testimony many times since, but 20 plus years ago on the Oprah Winfrey Show, Faith Hill, an incredible singer, beautiful human, an actor, mother, wife, beautiful person. She's on the Oprah Winfrey Show, and Oprah says, I heard when you were practicing earlier, you were singing my song. So Faith Hill's ears perk up. What is this song? So it's a gospel song called I Surrender All. Yes, I'm going to attempt to sing one line just to give you an idea. I have since listened to Faith Hill's version on this show on YouTube many times at different moments in my life when I wanted to feel a peacefulness. And the song goes a bit like this. I surrender all. I surrender all to thee, my blessed Savior. I surrender all. I don't know if you needed that in your life, but I just wanted to give you a sense of the song because I love it so much. So before Faith Hill sings this beautiful gospel song, Oprah Winfrey shares that many, many years ago, when the original Color Purple, the movie, was being cast, and the director was going to be Steven Spielberg, she desperately wanted to be in this movie. And she wanted this role so, so badly. And she thought maybe if she lost weight, she would get the role. So she takes herself to a health retreat and she's walking around the track, and she starts singing this song, I Surrender All. And I remember when she told this story on her show, I still remember she said, I sang and I cried and I sang and I cried and I sang and I cried and I prayed. And she was trying to let go of how tightly attached she was to wanting this role in the movie. And so she sang and she cried and she cried and she sang and she sang and she prayed and she sang the song, I Surrender All. She had finally let go of this burning desire to have this part. She's a woman of faith, so in her case, she decided to give it up to God. And the second she did, someone comes and says, there's a phone call for you. It's Steven Spielberg, and he wants to talk to you. And she gets on the phone, and he said, if you lose a pound, you will lose this part. And so she said, she left the health retreat, and she stopped at the Dairy Queen on the way home, and she got the role. And this just sort of came to me in the moment because as I was sharing about how so much of our life is grief or grieving, what is something that you could surrender? I'm not saying it's easy. It might take a practice, something I mentioned in earlier episodes about grief journaling, where you take a set time every day and you write out something that you might be grieving. You could do a similar practice, something that you really want to let go of. Maybe you are just so attached to this job and it just hasn't come and it hasn't come. Or you've applied for a university and you didn't get it or you didn't get it yet. But is there something that you could surrender to? And I will link, I found it on YouTube, it's still there. When Faith Hill sings the song, I Surrender All, it's beautiful. I'm sure there are many renditions out there. For me, it transcends whether or not you have a belief in any sort of religion or anything like that. It's just a beautiful song sung by a beautiful woman from her whole heart. And I don't think surrendering is something that you necessarily put down and it doesn't revisit you again. Just like I spoke about, I believe, last week, when there's things that we think we've healed from, that they come back again. I know for me, I just mentioned that in the Landmark Forum, you choose it to choose it, whatever's happening in your life. That doesn't mean that I don't still have moments hoping, wishing that I could be out hanging out with friends, reconnecting with people I love. But then I also come back to the trust and belief that staying quiet and not connecting on the short term is going to have wonderful long-term benefits. And I also believe that if we are able to surrender a little bit or a lot and really put down something that's heavy, something that's weighing us down, it frees up so much space in our minds and in our hearts and in our bodies, so much energy for other things, other dreams, other possibilities that we couldn't see or even think about because we were so focused on that dream or that thing that we thought that we wanted. And I have come to believe as well that maybe certain things weren't meant for us. And I say that as the most optimistic person I know, someone who believes in envisioning the things that you want to experience, feeling in this moment. For example, if you really want to go on a yoga retreat in Costa Rica right now, close your eyes. What does that feel like to you? Can you feel the sun on your face? Can you feel your sand in the toes? Can you hear the waves crashing? I did that kind of meditating, manifesting, feeling into for years, and then ended up living in Mexico, ended up back in Europe, where I would lie in my bed in pain, recovering, and I would envision and dream of walking on the cobblestone streets in Barcelona, in Italy, back in Burgos, where I lived in Spain years ago. And in the last couple of years, I've done that. I opened up a journal that I wrote in 2019, and I'm so glad that I brought it upstairs from storage. And yesterday or the day before, I opened it up, and the first page says 2019 to grow list. Start a YouTube channel, add to LinkedIn, start a podcast, start an email list. I have done all of those things, although I haven't figured out how my email list works, but I'm working on it. In any case, there's some other things on here, but I'm thrilled. Then I flip the page, and there's a page that says travel to go list. And there are maybe 17 countries, places written down. And without having seen this in years, since I wrote this in 2019, I've been to Costa Rica, Hawaii, Vancouver, Toronto, Italy 3 times, Spain, England, and at the bottom I wrote road trip ? And since 2019, I had acquired a 24-foot 1979 motorhome, affectionately named Vinny, and I went on 2 solo trips, one to Jasper National Park and one to Waterton National Park. So without even realizing it, the things that I was dreaming about, the things that I wanted to do and experience, that I meditated on, that I breathed into for so long in another very isolated period of my life, have come true. And so that's super exciting. And I wrote this down, put this book away, didn't even recall having written this down. And those things came true because I envisioned them, I dreamed about them, I wrote them down, I meditated on them, I felt into them as though they had already happened. And here I am checking them off years later without even having remembered that I had written them. And so the invitation is to take your time and reflect upon something that you've desperately wanted for so long that just isn't happening. It just isn't happening. Could you let it go? Could you surrender? How do you do that? Well, I think one way of doing that is allowing yourself to have a good cry, allowing yourself to feel sad about it, allowing yourself to maybe even feel defeated or deceived because you thought this was something that was absolutely for you. Cry, kick, scream, maybe spend a few days grief journaling, spending 5, 10, 15 minutes every day in the same spot at the same time, really putting to pen and paper, getting your feelings out and letting it go. Because when we do that, we're freeing up space for whatever is meant for us. I know for me, there have been many moments in the past couple of months where, of course, I would much rather be connecting with friends and catching up and hugging them and spending quality time. But my energy right now is sleep, fitness, nutrition, brain physio, knee physio, pool physio. And oftentimes, once I've done one of those things, I will unpredictably fall asleep. So for example, today I had physio for my knee, and it wasn't crazy painful like last week. But I came home, changed my clothes, lay down, and slept for 2 hours. So there's a part of me when I get a surge of energy or I feel like, oh, I would love to see my friends. I would love to hang out with people. Oh my gosh. And then I fall asleep and then I realize that my optimism and my desire to be in connection needs to be checked with what do my brain and body need? And my brain and body need rest. And there have been moments where I have had this feeling of loneliness, which is not super familiar to me. I remember a few years back, my family was dropping me off at home and my niece said, oh, like, Auntie Dee, do you ever get bored? I said, no, like I always have projects to do and things to do. And I don't think I have gotten bored, but I definitely have had the urge to be in connection with people I love. And often that might come up in a meditation where I'll have this overwhelming feeling of like wanting a hug. And then I hug myself. And I tell myself that I'm moving through a challenging time powerfully and that soon enough, hugs will be had. And in the meantime, I am doing things that maybe I wouldn't do if I was connecting with people because quite frankly, I would get distracted and not dedicate the time. I've baked some schiacciata. Schiacciata is a bread that is typically made in Tuscany, and in Florence there are lots of schiacciaterias, so places where you go and they will make you a sandwich on this delicious bread, and then they will put it in the forno, so they'll put it in the oven and they'll toast it for you, and it's so delicious. And so I am learning to master that. I baked carrot cake from scratch, toasted the walnuts, figured out that I could use my Ninja blender to grate the carrots because I realized that was not the greatest thing for me to do physically. And so I'm honing other skills that I have, and I'm finding ways to celebrate myself. So celebrating myself for making the bread, for making a delicious carrot cake. I mean, I even took the time to take the eggs out of the fridge and have them at room temperature before I made the carrot cake. I don't think I've ever done that in my entire life. So there are lots of positives to this alone time. I am doing my best to navigate it. I have felt lighter these last few days and even just laughed a little bit more, cried a little bit less. So things are looking up little by little, and I'm very, very thankful. A win for me has been that at the pool, I'm doing knee exercises and other exercises, and for frontwards walking, pool walking, I'm now up to 6 lengths, which is very exciting. And I could not be more thankful that there is a pool so close to my house, that the lifeguards there are so wonderful, that it is a pool that is not very busy. So between wearing my sunglasses and my earplugs, I'm able to handle the stimulation. And there's a window, a little window where the sun shines in at the time of day I've been going when I'm in the hot tub before and after my exercises. And it's a joy. It's a joy. The way that the water trickles in the hot tub sounds like a waterfall. So I close my eyes. I feel the sun on my face. I pretend that I'm somewhere where there actually is a waterfall, and I am in my glory. So it's holding on to those moments, finding the joy where I can. Because for me, obviously I talk about it a lot, being an extrovert, being a people person, being a lover of the people in my life. That's a huge joy for me, is in the real human connection. But until I get to have that, and know that my brain and my central nervous system can handle it, and that I will be able to sustain it, then I will take the win of the sunshine on my face through that window. And there was a super warm day where I was able to sit on my patio, eat the brunch that I made, and I was in a tank top. So those are moments that have brought me joy. So much joy. Something else that I've done, I had ordered cards and poster board, etc. And I have a whole list here of people to send, thinking of you, heartwarming, love notes. So if you would like to receive a card in the mail, feel free to send me your first name, last name, and postal mailing address. You can email me at dksutty@yahoo.ca, or you can DM me on Instagram, danielle.sutty. I'm on Facebook, Danielle Sutty, and you can also listen to this on YouTube and Amazon Music. But please send me your address. I would love to send you a love note. I would love to thank you personally for listening. And that's another thing that could be good about this time, is living in the analog, using pen and paper, finding creative notes that I made for myself that can help me with projects that I'm doing now. And for that, I am thankful. I will definitely do my best to link Faith Hill singing I Surrender All in the podcast notes. It may or may not speak to you, but I know for me, it's something I have listened to on repeat at times. And I am sending you love and rejuvenating energy as you surrender, as you let go of something that is no longer serving, or maybe a dream that needs to be surrendered to so that you can dream new dreams. And may you keep dreaming new dreams. I know around my birthday I had written down on a Post-it note and stuck it right beside my bed, and it says, okay, now you're 46. What are some things that you still want to experience? What are some things that you still want to do? I feel so lucky in my life when I open up this book and I look at the things I wanted to do, the things I enjoy doing, and then I did them. And there's still so much more to explore and to see and to eat and to do, and new loves and new places. But what are these things? It's so easy to just get stagnant and forget that you can always have new dreams. But it might be valuable to surrender some of the old ones that maybe aren't for you anymore. Or maybe were never meant for you in the first place. Who knows? Or maybe we'll all be lucky like Oprah and we'll surrender, and then the things that we want will come to us. But when we're holding a tight grip, I just don't think that serves us. Even as I say that, I put my one hand in a fist, and it's like energy is not flowing there. So I'm going to release my hand. There's like a release and a relief of surrendering and letting go. Let me know how it goes for you. Feel free to connect and let me know what you are desiring to surrender and what your new dreams are and might be. I would love to hear about it. And I'm excited for you. I'm excited for your new dreams. I'm excited that you are willing to surrender some old dreams, some old stuff, some old ideas, so that you can usher in some new ones. It feels exciting. It feels like possibilities. So I'm going to stay open to the magic of new dreams, new possibilities, new opportunities. And I'm excited to hear what new dreams open up for you. Sending so much love from my big heart that's going to keep on dreaming, keep on grieving when it comes up, keep on choosing where I am in this moment, because I truly believe we are always exactly where we are supposed to be, whether we like it or not. So I'm going to choose it. And may you choose your current situation. Embrace it as much as you can. Know that you are loved, that you are extraordinary, that you are pure magic. And I cannot wait to connect again at the most perfect time.